Adolf Hitler did not begin his life as a dictator, a military leader, or even a politician. For much of his early life, he was a struggling artist, a failed student, and a man without direction. Yet within a few decades, he would rise to become the leader of Germany and one of the most powerful figures in the world. This documentary explores how that transformation happened, tracing the path from Hitler's early failures to his rise through Germany's political system and examining the social and political conditions that made his ascent possible. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, in the small town of Braunau am Inn, located on the border between Austria and Germany. At the time, the region was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, a multi-ethnic state already struggling with internal tensions. Hitler's father, Alois Hitler, worked as a customs official and was known for his strict discipline and controlling behavior. He expected obedience from his children and often used harsh punishment to enforce it. Adolf, however, resisted his father's authority from a young age, frequently clashing with him over education and career choices. Alois wanted his son to follow a stable government career, but Adolf showed little interest in such a future and instead became drawn to art, architecture, and grand ideas about culture and history.
He loved drawing, and his family was very admiring of his efforts. So at the age of 13 or 14, he decided that he was going to be an artist, a painter.
Hitler's relationship with his mother Clara was very different. She was gentle, protective, and deeply devoted to him, providing emotional support that he did not receive from his father. Adolf became extremely attached to her, and her death from breast cancer in 1907 deeply affected him. By the time she passed away, Hitler had already dropped out of school without completing his education, leaving him with limited prospects. With no clear direction and few practical skills, he decided to leave his hometown and pursue his dream of becoming an artist in Vienna, believing that talent alone would be enough to secure his success. In Vienna, Hitler applied to the Academy of Fine Arts, confident that his drawings would be accepted. Instead, he was rejected, and when he applied again the following year, he was rejected once more.
Hitler didn't do any preparation work, thinking that his inspiration alone would be enough to win over the examiners. We now know that he failed the entrance for the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts twice.
These failures marked a turning point in his life. Rather than reassessing his abilities or seeking alternative paths, Hitler internalized the rejection as a personal injustice. Over the next several years, he lived in poverty, staying in men's hostels and surviving on small earnings from selling paintings. During this period, he spent much of his time reading newspapers and political pamphlets, absorbing the nationalist and anti-Semitic ideas that were common in Vienna's political culture. These ideas did not form a complete ideology yet, but they shaped his growing belief that society was structured around struggle and that certain groups were responsible for the decline of nations. In 1914, the outbreak of World War I dramatically changed the course of Hitler's life. He volunteered for the German army and was accepted despite being an Austrian citizen. Military service provided him with structure, discipline, and a sense of belonging that he had lacked throughout his youth. He served as a messenger on the Western Front, a role that exposed him directly to the dangers of trench warfare, including artillery bombardments and gas attacks.
Objectively speaking, Hitler was a very good soldier. He conscientiously obeyed orders. His superiors knew they could always count on him.
Hitler was wounded during the war and later temporarily blinded by a gas attack in 1918. Despite the brutal conditions, he viewed his service positively and felt a strong emotional attachment to the German military. Germany's defeat in November 1918 came as a profound shock to Hitler. Like many soldiers, he struggled to accept that the war had been lost. The collapse of the German Empire, followed by political revolution and the establishment of the Weimar Republic, created a sense of confusion and anger among the population. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 intensified these feelings, as Germany was forced to accept responsibility for the war, surrender territory, limit its military, and pay heavy reparations. Hitler believed that Germany had not been defeated on the battlefield, but betrayed by politicians and internal enemies. This belief became central to his worldview and would later shape his political message. After the war, Hitler remained in the army, which assigned him to observe political groups that were considered dangerous. In September 1919, he attended a meeting of the German Workers' Party. During the meeting, Hitler spoke passionately in response to a discussion, drawing attention from both the audience and party leaders. Recognizing his talent for public speaking, the party invited him to join. Hitler soon became one of its most active members, using speeches to attract attention and recruit supporters. As Hitler's influence within the party grew, he helped transform it into a broader nationalist movement. The party was renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party, in 1920. Its ideology combined extreme nationalism, opposition to democracy, and hostility toward Jews and communists. Hitler understood that political success depended not only on ideas, but also on presentation. He emphasized symbols, rallies, and emotional language, creating a sense of unity among followers. In 1921, he became the party's leader and formed the SA, a paramilitary organization that used intimidation and violence to disrupt opponents and assert control over public spaces. By 1923, Germany was experiencing a severe economic crisis. Hyperinflation destroyed savings and undermined confidence in the government. Believing the state was close to collapse, Hitler attempted to seize power in Munich through the Beer Hall Putsch. The attempt failed, and Hitler was arrested. Although the coup was unsuccessful, the trial gave him national attention. He used the courtroom as a platform to present himself as a patriot acting in Germany's interest, and the judges treated him leniently.
Hitler always rose to the occasion before an audience, and he realized that some of the judges were sympathetic to his cause, and all of them were serving the Republic reluctantly.
During his imprisonment, Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, outlining his beliefs about race, nationalism, and politics. More importantly, he concluded that violent revolution was unlikely to succeed. Instead, he decided that power could be gained through legal means by participating in elections and exploiting the weaknesses of democratic institutions. After his release, Hitler focused on rebuilding the Nazi Party, reorganizing it into a nationwide movement while carefully controlling its message and leadership. The period of relative stability in Germany ended with the onset of the Great Depression in 1929. The economic collapse led to mass unemployment and widespread hardship, eroding trust in the Weimar government. Hitler's message of national renewal, strong leadership, and economic recovery resonated with millions of Germans who felt abandoned by traditional political parties. The Nazi Party gained significant support in elections, becoming the largest party in the Reichstag by 1932. Despite this success, Hitler did not yet hold absolute power. Political deadlock and elite miscalculations, however, worked in his favor. Conservative leaders believed they could control Hitler by bringing him into government, underestimating his determination and political skill. On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Once in office, he moved quickly to dismantle democratic institutions. The Reichstag fire in February 1933 allowed him to justify emergency measures that suspended civil liberties and targeted political opponents. The Enabling Act passed shortly afterward gave him the authority to rule without parliamentary approval, effectively ending democratic governance in Germany. Over the next year, Hitler eliminated rivals both outside and within his own movement. The Night of the Long Knives in 1934 removed potential threats from within the Nazi leadership, while the death of President Paul von Hindenburg allowed Hitler to merge the offices of Chancellor and President. The German army swore loyalty directly to him, completing his transformation from political outsider to absolute ruler of Germany. Yet this rise to power was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning of a far more destructive chapter, one in which Hitler would attempt to reshape Europe itself. In the next part, the focus shifts from his ascent to the consequences of his rule, as Germany moves toward war and the world begins to feel the full impact of the decisions made during his rise.